Welcome to the OMG Show.
Okay, so running your business, just running a business in general can be pretty overwhelming. I mean, you have to be the marketing guy, the salesperson, the janitor sometimes, the website expert. I mean, you're wearing so many different hats just trying to make moves with your business, right? And that's only amplified if you're ever inside of some type of crisis, right? Like right now, we're currently going through the coronavirus pandemic. It has affected millions of businesses across the world. People have passed away. The global economy is pretty much, in the gutter for some people. But, in terms of you and me, right, that crisis can be closer to home, right? Perhaps we have a child with special needs. Perhaps, we are limited in some capacity. That adds just an extra level of stress on top of, your business. And the thing about it is that, you're trying to figure out how to balance it all. How can I do what needs to be done, but how can I also take care of my family, of everything else that is also occurring in my life? And depending on what you choose to do, it can feel like you have no momentum moving forward in your business. Or even in your life, and you might feel like you're stuck at times, being pulled in many different directions, and you yourself are questioning in terms of whether or not you can actually lead this ship or not. Okay, and no matter what it seems, no matter what you seem to try and do, you just can't seem to make that type of progress moving forward that you really want. But the truth of it all is that it's really not a reflection of who you are as a person, right? It's circumstances. It's all situational, okay? And one of the best books that I've ever read was given to me by my mentor, and it's The Power of Now. And in that book, they talk about situations, how there are no problems, there are only situations. And the moment you accept the situation, you can then act upon it. It's only when you resist the situation that your pain level increases. And in a crisis management situation, depending on your fight or flight response, it's going to affect whether or not you accept the situation and how you are going to proceed after the fact. Now, look, I'm not married. I don't have kids. I have an online business that pretty much works wherever there's Wi-Fi. Okay, so in many ways, I'm very grateful and I'm very humble to be in the position that I am, but I know many aren't. And the reason I know this is because I work with business owners who have families who are severely affected, and I can see what works for them and what doesn't work for them. So I kind of want to share with you some of those highlights that I've learned through working with some of these clients, because you might find yourself in that position. And I hope you understand that you're not alone, that there's always obviously support and help, and you can always reach out to me, but there's those communities online that are always here to help you. But we definitely want to talk about how to handle some of these situations. And after working again with these clients of mine, the number one thing that really stands out to me in terms of how they're able to balance, whatever crisis is happening, and whether it's the pandemic or whatever, it's that they live and die by their schedule. Their schedule is their boss. And for me personally, when I first started this entire thing, I didn't have a schedule. I said, I'm my own boss. Vacation all day. And I pretty much didn't do anything for a month, but then that ended up biting me in the butt, and really I've come to find out that a schedule really gives you freedom. Being able to schedule everything out and having a routine really helps you kind of keep your head level, and it's just the thing about knowing what's going to happen. That gives you a sense of security, a sense of, okay, I expect this to happen, and therefore you're more prepared for when something unexpected happens, right? You schedule everything that needs to be taken care of, so that way, whenever something that's kind of in a crisis does occur in your life, you have the mental capacity to work for it because you already know that something is scheduled, that you've already either paid attention to it, or you can delegate it to someone else, or you can move it around to fit whatever's going on, as opposed to just having an open schedule, because you never know what's going to happen, right? If you don't schedule anything out, you don't know what you should be working on. You don't know how to be spending your time in the most optimized manner. It allows you to kind of, stay reactive rather than proactive. When you have a schedule, you're way more proactive in terms of how you want to spend your time, which leads me to my next point that I see is that, most of my clients that, have some type of family situation or are constantly in some form of crisis, they have some form of positive feedback loop to let them know that they're doing a good job in a sense. And to really, we need that, not only from externally, but from ourselves. Just, knowing that, okay, you know what? I've taken care of my family. I've done X, Y, and Z. I managed my business. I did all this. Okay, it's awesome. It wasn't all 100%, but we got it through. We made it. You know what? I'm going to go have a Coke. Okay. Or some green juice or whatever makes you happy. For me, if I could have an ice cold Coca-Cola, I'm good. All right. I don't drink it all the time, but that is definitely something I like to indulge in every now and then. Okay. But you want to make sure you have some sort of positive feedback loop, because you need to reward yourself for the actions that you are taking. If you schedule everything out, right? You're managing your business, your family, everything that's happening in between, and you're staying on top of it all. That deserves some kind of recognition, especially from yourselves, because I know, knowing me, I'm always going to think about, okay, well, I could have done a better job. Sure, you could have, absolutely, 100%, but you survived it, right? You took action, whereas others who didn't have a schedule would have not taken an action. Okay, so you want to make sure that everything's scheduled and then you have a positive feedback loop in place. Now, the other thing that you want to do, especially in a time of crisis, is be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for the circumstances that have you been placed, and that they're there for a reason. This is something that I've always found so fascinating about, clients that I have who, for me, outside looking in, I'm wondering, like, wow, like how do you even manage? And they're just so grateful. They're always grateful, regardless of how bad the circumstances might be. They have such a positive outlook that it's contagious, and it feeds not only their business, but everyone around them. That positivity, that focusing on gratitude, that giving thanks to people that help you, or, even giving more of themselves to other people, just brings them so much more positivity that emotionally it lifts up their spirits and helps them continue fight the good fight, right? It's that being, grateful for the circumstances that, yeah, sure, they weren't ideal, right? However, they're making the best out of those circumstances. And that's now becoming their story, right? That's now becoming part of their character arc, right? And now they can use that as strength to move everything forward, as strength to bring the family together, as strength to move their business forward. I mean, it's really a remarkable thing when I hear some of my clients talk about the kind of things they have to go through, and how they're able to manage it all. Right, and sure, sometimes they slip up, and that's okay. I mean, because they have, a coach like myself kind of pushing them along to make sure they stay on top of things. But for the most part, they're doing it. They're on top of their stuff, and the reason why is because it's scheduled out, right? It's scheduled out, and they have positive feedback loops in place that lets them know that they're right where they should be, and that they're doing a good job. But more importantly, too, that they're being grateful for everything that they're in, right? For whatever circumstances they're in, they're grateful for them, and they're using that as a platform to strengthen everything else. And it's really a remarkable thing. So I think that, regardless of if it's a pandemic, or maybe you have a kid who has special needs, or some other form of crisis that might be affecting you and your business right now, knowing that you're just not alone, right? To you, the circumstances might be unique, but we're all in some kind of form of crisis, one way or another. Some are internally, some are externally. At the end of the day, we're all here for you. And so if you need you know, a helping hand, a community, feel free to reach out. But again, you know, make sure to schedule everything out. Put some positive feedback loops into place, and be grateful for the circumstances. And by doing that, you're going to be able to put out multiple fires, handle a crisis like a boss, and move your business forward. All right, so thank you for tuning into today's episode. I'll see you on the next one.